Hey guys, welcome back to Fudce playing World End Economica, episode 2. My name is Fudce. Well, that's given the fact I said Fudce playing it, but anyway, let's get it back into a game shape, shall we? Because it seemed to have an immediate effect. The first day felt just like opening test, but on the second and third and fourth day, today, Chris announced that the program recorded its higher day at plus 13%. They weren't very shocking numbers compared to the trades I did 4 years ago, but the most truly amazing aspect was the lack of volatility. The volatility I spoke of was how large a price fluctuation a stock has and indicates how large its wave it follows. Meaning that after Chris's trades made 13%, there's quite a high chance when a few percentage more or less than 13% would be earned. Of course, God only knew how long that would last, but anyway, for those last few days, Chris had been sending me report emails right when I got off work from the government office. Then, not long after that, Chris comes over in person and we meet at a nearby cafe. With Chris's operational sum now at 13%, we're no longer at the same level as a child playing with fire. A few 100,000 moles, a few million moles, since every success begat even more money, it wouldn't be strange if the next higher digit reared his head. Price momentum. We're at a 4-storey window facing the street at a certain cafe which was comparatively relaxed, even the outer district. A furious red silhouette of people hurrying home could easily be made out from its row of seats. Since there were quite a lot of individuals in jobs associated with blue and white collar workers, everyone seemed to be wearing scruffy looking coats and jackets. Tell you what, I wouldn't mind cosplaying him as that guy. Quite a simple cosplay outfit actually. I felt somewhat relieved to seeing those people who appeared more real. Newton City's Clapton Square wasn't bad, but I was no longer naive enough to just romp around there merrily. Even when I received Chris's report, I danced with joy knowing my ideas punched right through a crack in the market, but didn't bother calculating the profits. I understand the general concept, but the stocks that will increase from here on out will be the stocks that have been increasing up to this point. It will definitely give off a sense of tautology. Is this a relatively new method? I've been able to correlate this mathematically actually. The technique itself has been implemented since olden times, but we've only seen the words used in books from the last century about the bubble. It has neither mathematical nor financial enterprise proof. The only proof is this technique is optimism from investing circles. It's too frightening to weigh stocks with 100 times PE ratios, so I can't do that. Chris referred to the indexing known as the price earnings ratio. Thank you. If one stock at a company at 100 moles earned 10 moles on it per year, the interest rate was 10 times. If you were to think of stocks as a recourse to claim a share of a company's profit, then one with a higher PE ratio would be fairly expensive. That's because if a PE ratio of a stock was worth 100 moles, it would yield 1 mole profit per share. The expensive golden goose only laid tiny golden eggs no matter how long you waited around. When you normally sell it, have to often seek a different, cheaper golden goose. When worth its very expensive golden goose dropped down to a reasonable amount. Thus, there are only 2 reasons to have its expensive goose. If you expect down the road that we lay a giant golden egg, to expect a bigger greedy fool than yourself to buy this goose at a higher price. As well as I saw that game on a hot potato being played in front of a real estate agency in Clapton Square. Well, they were burdening themselves with a debt they'd be unable to repay on their own, with the expectation that the houses they'd be buying would increase in value. That was real optimism. That's why I definitely moved in from 1 step forward compared to myself from 4 years ago, gouging those swarming the marketplace in madness. Well, since we know this method is correct, we just need to increase the stock variety. Yeah, that's just if I'm able to mathematically deduce it. Shoulders slumped dejectedly. For these last few days, she eagerly tried to mathematically assign the stocks I had labelled as promising, but it didn't work out. The only ones that emerged were devastating brands with strong results and good financial standing were likely to last a good 20 or more years. Those weren't the ones I wanted to find, though. I wanted to find those kind of stocks down and out, deep in the red, the ones that would definitely undergo huge change, so needed to be purchased immediately. Or rather, the stocks that would make other people believe that. And this is the important part, the speculation changes astoundingly from day to day. That's because a change in stocks is nothing more than a change in speculation. For example, if you buy a stock at an adequate price and you don't believe the price won't change, then was there a reason to buy it? Let's apply this specifically to individuals who buy appreciating stocks. particular investor does not buy a stock at 100 moles. That investor deems a stock not worth 100 moles. If that stock increases by 10 moles every day, this continues for a month, becoming 400. An investor who didn't buy 100 moles cannot stop himself from buying it at 400. Why? What reason was there to buy it at 400 when they didn't buy it at 100? Because they thought it was going to continue increasing. What changed mentally for investor wasn't the worth, but rather the speculation about worth. Specifically, speculating about the worth would appreciate. Meaning the reason why trades occur so frequently was that because there were many who changed their minds about the worth. So cases where it was better to ascertain others' change in speculation instead of watching the change in corporate performance. Actually, it was also an investing method where you focused on the number of stocks sold. I, 4 years ago, punched my face in soaking in the market, my eyes like wide-like saucers, calling around the numbers, pursuing, ringing out, focusing and instinctively routing out the flow of those people. Barton had praised my investing, saying he'd feel my passion in my trades. Investing was done between individuals, thus it was given that human speculation was a decisive factor, but it's quite hard to grasp. Having so much mathematical analysis and record, one could mistake the sector for a digital one. It was difficult to deny, but flat out, from how incredible its mathematics are. However, the basis was still human speculation, so it was impossible to fully mathematically map it. I could remain calm while refining Chris's program because I understood that firsthand. Regardless of how apparently erroneous mathematically it was feasible for the people who were incapable by abiding it. So somewhere in their minds they were probably feeling there's a lot they had still to do themselves. Looking at my right hand holding my cup of sweetened caramel coffee. Oh, nice. I saw my index finger quivering as I stopped it. Don't deny the past. Just take in what happened. What I need to do, having sustained a crippling injury from not believing in Hagana's maths, wasn't grovel before mathematics. Instead, I also have accepted that people could become stupid enough that cannot be calculated mathematically. After that Saturday date with Chris, I researched and weighed out how optimistic brands were that need to be traded by gathering up their website and other related material. There really was a kind of favouritism in brand stocks. There really is that whole matter of what other brands that they would like. A certain distinguished economist from over 100 years ago had compared the fact to a beauty pageant. John Maynard Keynes said this. Stock investing was like a game where you try to pick the winner in a beauty contest rather than try to pick out what you yourself thought was most beautiful. However, it was not voting simply for who others thought was most beautiful. One must choose the ones the others believe the people around them would consider the prettiest, possibly even go to a degree beyond that sometimes. Just not deciding what you like best. It's not deciding what other people will like the best. It's deciding what other people will think other people like the best. It's not what you know, it's what you know other people know you know. There's some sort of sense there. Yet being able to grasp the speculations of others was incredibly difficult. At a time of his gravest failure, Sir Isaac Newton famously said, "I can calculate the movement of the stars, but not the madness of men." Yet people could easily look at someone and guess what they'd prefer. One must use statistics for flowing bodies. It was impossible to calculate the movement of a vast amount of particles, while people were able to move in that crowded central station without getting entangled. According to Chris, it was uncertain if even the most advanced supercomputer could replicate it. Also, it was a very common thing and could be difficult to remember that it was normal. Being separated from a market for those past 4 years may have actually been a good thing. It's a good example of how a frog can't tell how hot the water was if it was in it all the time. There's a scenario in which, if you increase the water temperature slowly, the frog in it wouldn't notice the water was boiling and would die. I was able to assess the insanity level head because I appeared to be out of blue and peeking inside. That's because I had lived in the poor regions of the outer district staring inwards. That was why I could understand this insanity. Well, it's probably a difficult program mathematically. But you're able to tell which ones are like that just by seeing their home pages, right? Well, yeah, when I'm saying what their company is about, their goals and mission statement, and seeing what a company's stock quotes, I can make a decent assumption. Huh? clasped a cup of cafe au lait with both hands as she made a small utterance. I sipped my sweetened coffee and gave a slight sigh. Wow. I thought, this takes you back. Hagano and I used to talk like this 4 years ago. Same as defining porn. Huh? Upon being called out too unexpectedly, I turned to see Thoreau, looking more like a street punk than anything else, carrying a coffee cup topped with whipped cream, like he did 4 years ago back when he had his afro. The way porn is handled can still be summarised by that famous trial in America. What are you talking about? What's the difference between porn and art? What is the line between pursuit of artistic eroticism and vulgar corporeal lust? A difficult question that plagues the civilised world. Those guys that need to act all civilised seriously think we can discuss it without being defined. You a judge back then didn't back down. Basically said you know something's porn just by looking at it. Sarah interrupted me, sitting opposite Chris at a table, passes a cup over to me as he greeted her. Trying to make distinct decisions about seeing something to make the problem more difficult. Most limiting arguments are like that. So, what do you want? Image recognition? Phrase parser? Probably both. Feeling doesn't work well with digital. That's the thing your message was about, right? You need the context of short phrases, and have a word it so don't get to go scoop up those from the net, right? Oh, you got it right even needed to come and talk in person. You dumbass. This ain't something where you can just text me a please and I'll respond with a sure. That's what I wanted to come and tell you in person. This pain in the ass job amongst pain in the ass jobs, and what it would entail, got it? So he put his arm around my neck and said that to my face. I responded emotionlessly to Thoreau, regardless of my face not moving to begin with. If this could be fully automated, then the gains would be extraordinary. It would mean turn a profit for Chris, or would go directly to church operations. The whole reason I took out time from my damn busy schedule coming here because you'd use this argument as a shield. I was using the best cards I have. I was taught by Risa to make use of one's connections. I certainly am a superior programmer, but I have my day job that... He was glaring at me like I was grinding him onto my cheek. He suddenly cut himself off. His line of sight left me and moved to a point across from me. I'm sorry. It's because I'm so incapable. Nah, it's not your fault, Quissy. He whipped his hand off of me, straightened up, and said it with a beaming face. It was pretty much how it always went down when I was with Hagana. He basically just was really weak with girls. He's saying nonsense like that because he wants to try and capture the feel of stuff, right? To fully automate that with numerical equations. It's all on him. It's fine, it's fine. I've got friends who do context and analytics with image recognition. So I pop over a request and boom, done. And get it cheap for you. He said that, looking like things were in the best of conditions, slapping my head as Chris looked on frantically. Cheaply? It is work, so things should probably be, nah, nobody there is interested in money. There's a more effective way to spark interest than paying you with cash, using Chrissy herself. What? Chris had gone red in her face and shrank into her shoulders, popping the talk of porn earlier. I did think, even if she was just doing it instinctively, she really should have just stopped lowering her shoulders and just covering up her bosom with both arms. So his face instantly went indecent. I glared at Thoreau, wondering what he would request. It can be anything from Riemann hypothesis to Goldilocks knot theory. Mind going along with something like that? What? You're pretty decent with abstract maths, aren't you? These guys are deep in theoretical, so they really want people to talk about it with them. Of course, they want to do that with someone who can be at their level. It's like how bodybuilders boast about their bod. Yeah. So that turns out to be a cute girl on their level? No one more so. So said it with one eye closed, his finger pointed up. Chris was shocked and I was at a loss. I have a feeling I've got to do it for her. Can't look down on that, yeah? He looked over at me, saying it sarcastically, but he was right. I couldn't refute it. People can be motivated to move for pretty silly shit. Even something companies need to actually pay into their development pretty quick if they set their minds to it, since stuff is made by people. That was pretty profound for Thoreau. When I looked at Chris, she jumped a little, but then a line of sight panned over towards Thoreau. Is that all real? Yeah, that's probably enough to make a guy damn serious. Thoreau has a prominent software company, even in the moon. This company once put out an ad that was nothing but a small, incomprehensible figure. That was the employment aptitude exam. with a date and contact method hidden in it. We only tested those able to contact them without any type of description given. It turned out it was even a finer fit than that. I've seen that myself, but had no idea just how to break down. It looked like a guy got it pretty quickly, but I couldn't think it was anything but shamanic alien signals at a space at work. Those types of people certainly would have little interest in Terran wealth. Well, if you don't mind paying out that kind of reward, I can call out and gather some guys, but because, well, it's... He looks a little embarrassed as he laughed and spoke. Looks like it's going to make money. After pretty much sulking on the outskirts of the outer district running an illicit net cafe, this company was snatched up from him. Soro started working again because he regretted not having the money to need it at the time he needed it. Chris, Soro, myself, rather everyone including Risa, were all being tossed around when scattered because of money. Money might not have been able to steal our souls, but it could steal our livelihoods. We knew that very well. Soro chose to earn a steady income. Chris chose to make money surrender to it. That's why I nodded at what he said, rather than poking fun at it. Thank you so much. Yep. He looked at me after uttering that to Chris. I looked back at him and spoke. Please. He sighed dejectedly as I spoke briefly as I stood up from a chair. Well, I do need to mess around from time to time. He made to leave us after saying that. I was about to thank him for taking the time to come out. A question from him popped into my head. Oh, wait. There's something I want to ask. This is new. What? When Soro turned back, I hesitated slightly. Oh, I think I know what he's going to ask. I had so many chances to ask him for 3 years, but I never had. It's not something you can be asked lightly, actually. What, man? This is pretty rare coming from you. How did it feel, having your company crushed? Chris looked very surprised when I said those words. I'd made an irrevocable mistake. So had Soro. It wasn't just out of curiosity, I wanted to hear the opinion of someone who had more life experiences. Soro, putting his hand on his hip, cracking his mouth open, spoke as I stared at him straight in the eye. Probably the same feeling as having your kid killed. Kid? That irreplaceable existence, something you raised with love. Running a company is completely different from a worker's perspective. The work you put into it is immense. Things never go as planned, just trouble, trouble, even more trouble. I asked myself more than once or twice what the hell I was doing this for. But when you protect it like nothing good happens, you have a fallout from the guys you launched it with, and then they betray you. It's because you get attached to it. That's persona sui juris thing, I think. A company is just something you work with, and yet it has a persona. It's got a face. It's got blood running through it. As Soro was talking, he didn't have his usual sharp look, but a rather somewhat gentle one. That was a face of nostalgia. So was that when it was crushed, stolen away, I got really down. Even after all that, I'm still here like this, so that's why. He spoke and drank his coffee. But ain't something you can do. Rising back up to your feet after committing an irrevocable mistake. Do you think those words would come from you? Do you think this type of question would come from you? So sneered and then turned towards a bored-looking Chris and winked deliberately. That's how it is. Yeah. I answered, and after clearing my throat, added, Thanks. Don't sweat it. So I laughed and I hid my embarrassment by pushing the corners of my mouth up with my fingers. So then, guys, see you later. When Soro said that, Chris seemed to return to her senses after witnessing our conversation. She said, Soro, to a church today? Nah, ain't going. Got work. He gulped down his coffee and there was a fresh cream all over his mouth. Send my regards to Risa. Soro, a super programmer, is going to make a super program for a church to earn some super money. Understood. Chris laughed at what Soro said, then even though she appeared a little bit disappointed. Well, send me an email with all the details. Soro waved as he left the cafe. It was probably true about him being busy. With Soro's towering figure gone from the room, it felt like we were stuck into an empty void. A brief silence fell, with both of us wondering who should break it when Chris finally spoke. What will you do after this, Haru? Yeah, I'll go back home. I went to a church practically every day other than Sunday. That's because I meet up with Chris at a cafe near a government office for the purpose of fine-tuning the programming. Just that whenever I did, I always ended up going back late and cutting down on sleep. At least for a day I wanted to take it easy. Should really stay at the church. There being an empty room and everything. Someone that needs it more than me might come, right? When that happens, then where is my room? She mumbled that, but that'd probably infuriate Risa. You can tire something if you do it every day, no matter how fun it is. I patted Chris on my head, and she shrank into her shoulders like a cat, but didn't try and get away from my hand. Always treat me like a child. I said that so many times to Risa when I was your age. I shrugged my shoulders and pushed up the corners of my mouth with my fingers. A week passed since I last entered a probation period under Eleanor, yet I hadn't heard a single more. We'll find out why next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.